This is the story of Zachary, a young man who, without the presence of his father and without much guidance from his mother, started getting interested in the spiritual world through a medium he had met. That experience later led him to a darker path that flipped his life upside down forever. I'll let him explain exactly what happened.
Eventually, in my journey of looking for truth, and again, I don't know, I have this spiritual sensitivity, but it was quite obvious Lucifer controlled the world. I don't know, when you have eyes to see and you're demonically influenced, and if Satan allows you to see it, it's really quite obvious who rules the world, or the kingdoms of this world, should I say, the kingdoms of this world. And so that, it was quite easy for me to see that, and I accepted that. You know, he's really good at deception, so he really made it sound like he was the good guy. That he was fighting the good fight, that he was fighting against a dictator tyrant. And with Luciferianism, it's kind of weird. They think of it as like a more elegant Satanism, right? I don't know how to explain it. It's like a lighter side of Satanism. It's not as dark, but it is a false light. And so that's what I would say is the difference. One, it's just you go straight into this dark, raw, satanic magic and whatnot, and really worshiping this dark deity, and deities, these demons. And then with Luciferianism, you are looking for truth, you're looking for knowledge, but ultimately it all leads you to complete darkness.
So the Satanism, what you describe as Satanism, the rituals, which we hear here and there sometimes, it's not talked about a whole lot, but you weren't involved in that. You were more so, I don't know if worship is the right word, but you accepted Lucifer as your God. Is that right?
Yeah, I accepted him as my ruler and my Lord and my hero, one that I would want to serve. And I never joined any secret societies. And I thank God, I didn't trust anyone. And so I just am so blessed I didn't go any further than into secret societies and a lot of satanic practices that go really deep. And at that moment, I was just looking for truth.
Okay. And what did that look like for you, the life of being a Luciferian? In concrete terms, what was it?
Well, I guess you would say like Gnosticism, knowledge, looking for knowledge. That's what it was. I just wanted to look for knowledge for selfishness' sake. I just wanted to grow in knowledge, and knowledge is power. And that would just unlock more doors for me in my own selfish path. And so that's why I would sum it up. It's just knowledge for the sake of knowledge for power.
So what kind of knowledge were you learning about? Was it books? Was it something that everyone has access to? Because when we hear Luciferian, it's something very foreign to most of us. And so I'm asking the question because I'm sure that a lot of people have that same question of like, what does that even mean, right? And so what I'm asking is, for you in your life, what were the things that made you different than a regular person as being a Luciferian? Apart from you wanting more knowledge to have power, just like you explained, but what were the actions that you were taking?
So just looking through the internet, looking for information, but really getting into witchcraft through drugs and whatnot, allowing demons into me, and what I would call spiritism, where I would get knowledge from the demons themselves, right? Now, I didn't go into any secret society where there was, Freemasons with all those books and whatnot to really understand and perfect the royal art of witchcraft. But I did have demons influence my life where they would instantly give me the knowledge and guide me in the right direction, where to look. And for me, I was looking through a lot of videos and information online.
And that being that part of being influenced by demons, it's my understanding that it's not something that you started in your own family, but it happened with your parents, maybe more specifically with your dad. So I know that there's an event that happened, if you would be willing to share it, because I think it ties in very well with your story and maybe part of the reason why you started heading down that path later in life.
Correct. Like I keep bringing up, I have this spiritual sensitivity, and I would say that came from my father. See, I didn't know growing up, but my mother eventually, when I was growing up, I was in my teenage years, late teenage years, 17 through 19, when my mom started sharing me stories. For instance, I'll share a couple stories. Like one time when they were driving and the lights would turn off, and as soon as they passed by, then it would turn back on. It happened as they continued to drive. My mom's like, "What's going on?" He's like, and then my father said, "I'm controlling them." Stuff like that. And then my father almost murdering my mother. She would see him with black eyes, completely demon possessed. And you really just don't get to that state unless you are very involved with some dark things. And so with demons being within him, I would say that with my father and mother having me, it affected me in a very spiritual and intimate level.
Right, because even if your father wasn't present in your life, he left when you were 10 or 11, you said in the beginning. He left, he wasn't influencing you, but the fact that it was your father, there was influences, maybe spiritual, probably, that impacted you later in life, which maybe gave you this sensitivity to the spirituality, which eventually led to you, without knowing, doing the same thing or something very similar to your father, which is being willingly letting demons inside of you.
Yep. The sins of your parents affect you. Everything you eat, drink, what you see, where you live, it affects your children on a very intimate level. And that includes spiritual.
So you were doing these things and you got deeper and deeper in your understanding because you were seeking for truth. And eventually you tried to, I don't know if you successfully did it, but at least you attempted to write a book of Lucifer. What does that mean? What's a book of Lucifer? What was the book that you were writing? Why were you writing it? And the whole process. Can you explain that?
Yes. So I was I was influenced by demons to want to write a book about Lucifer and how great he is and his story, his side of the story, to share with people. I wrote a good amount, but I was just feeling so convicted by the Holy Spirit. I didn't know it was the Holy Spirit, but with the Holy Spirit and with God's angels working, I just felt so convicted, like this is not right. And so I threw it away. That was the start with this tug and pull. And so I threw the information away. I threw it all away.
Can you go more into that tug and pull? Because it's the first time that you're bringing angels, God, and Jesus. And there was this split inside of you, which maybe you can explain how that felt. But you were, just like you said, being tugged in both ways and not being sure which way to go, I guess.
Yes. So even though my heart was hardened, there was still a part of me that really knew certain things that were wrong, like pedophilia and sacrifice of children and whatnot. And it was just a part of me that knew this wasn't right and that I shouldn't share this with people. And so I threw that. And also in my journey, God's angels are ever working, and God leads you to certain videos or certain information to help guide you in the right direction. That's where he would show videos of ex-Satanists. It's like, wow. I mean, they were really deep into it, and they realized the real right path is Jesus.